get into this reaction with Stephen A. Smith and motherfucking Brandon fucking Tatum. Cool ass Tatum, man. I listen. I personally don't like the guy. All right. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just keep my personal comments to myself. Why? Because let's not be biased, right? He's a human being. He has a right to believe whatever he wants to believe. He has a right to be a part of whatever political party he wants to be a part of. He claims he's for the African American community. He claims that he's an American. He loves America. Yeah. I beg to differ. But who am I? Right? I'm an individual. I have my opinion. Everybody should be respected for their own opinions, and I agree. So with that being said, we're gonna look at some of this video from Stephen A. Smith's YouTube page. We're gonna do a little commentary. He just dropped it yesterday, I believe a couple of hours ago. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into that and see what they're talking about. We're definitely not gonna watch the whole video. Reason B is because the video is extremely long. It's a pretty long video, and I don't want to have to, it's just a really long video. You know what I'm saying? Like just it's a long video. So instead of me dragging you all through this long video, I'm going to basically just summarize a little bit of it for you, and we're gonna go from there. I think that's what we need to do with that. All right, just so that we all be on the same page, and everything is Gucci. All right, so let's get into it.
So my next guests represent just that. One is a progressive civil rights advocate, entrepreneur, and the founder of Civics for the People. The other is a former Arizona police officer turned conservative YouTube political commentator and a staunch MAGA supporter. Please welcome back to yours truly, Straight Shooter with yours truly, the one and only Gary Chambers Jr. and Officer Brandon Tatum. Both have been on this show before. I loved having them on, so I want to invite them both back on again. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Thanks, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
After last night, man.
No, I'm not good. You're right. I'm not good. I'm not good after the Knicks loss, damn it. I'm not good, but I'm going to get over it for right now for the purposes of this conversation. Let's get right to it. Right now, the state of America is what in your mind, Gary Chambers? Give it to me. How do you view America right now under the Trump administration, part two?
Chaotic, divided, and unorganized. I think that the Trump administration has brought a whole lot of chaos, very few solutions to the working class people's problem, and a fundamental lack of organization. Everything within his administration is a response to something that's taking place with somebody else. He doesn't have a real plan about how to address anything. We're at war, gas prices are high, food prices are still up, and Donald Trump is lying to the people every day on TV. And the lives of regular, everyday working class people in America are not improving.
Officer Tatum, your response to that would be what as a conservative?
You, your team, and your agents are working together on Monday.com's AI work platform.
What would it be? That's a good question. Pretty interesting, right? Let's see. This dude Tatum, he never answers a question. He be having a little snapback, but he's no Charlie Kirk, dude. Charlie would eat a nigga. Charlie used to do his shit. I know people don't like Charlie because of some of the shit he used to say, but
we're going
through some growing
pains. But Donald Trump has made a concerted effort to help with the economy. He's trying to get tariffs put into place. Obviously, he's getting pushback on many of those things. The war is necessary. I mean, there are certain times where we have to get into conflict with different countries. And I think that Donald Trump has a solution. I believe that we're going to resolve this war very quickly, and we're going to see gas prices go down. Us controlling the Strait of Hormuz, us controlling things in Venezuela and Cuba and all of those things, and also Trump trying to gain some leverage in Greenland. All of the things that Donald Trump is doing things that's going to improve the country, which most other presidents were too cowardice to do. So somebody have to prevent, push.
This nigga be gargling Trump's balls. Like, I don't know what the fuck people think. First of all, Trump don't like poor people. Let's just put that out there. First of all, if you ain't rich and a part of an elite class that Trump is trying to be a part of, or his people's already a part of, then he not messing with you. Trump don't care about no black or no white people. Trump don't like poor people. And guess who they want? They make sure they put in that position to be poor. Black people. All right? Black people. That's who it is. Period. You can like it or not, but that's what they want. They want to keep enough people poor. They say the black people are poor, and then you got everybody else, which is not true. But I mean, it's definitely a race. It's definitely a race to have some bread, and they ain't giving us nothing. So I don't know what he thinks, but he really believes in Trump, bro.
Can down the road and actually taking a tough position of trying to make things better. I do think that President Trump is on the right track. I think that there's obstacles. Let's give him the rest of his term and let's see how it pan out.
Gary, when you hear somebody, and listen, it's not an accident. I wanted two black men on this show to start off something that I'm going to be doing a lot of: black men, black women, conservatives, liberals of all ethnicities. I'm not going to shy away from any of it. But considering the fact that both of y'all are black, like myself, I wanted to ask you, when you hear Officer Tatum highlight the things that he believes that Donald Trump is doing right. And he talks about how the liberals essentially would not have done a better job, whether it's Kamala Harris, whether it's Joe Biden, or whomever. When you hear what he explains and how he explains it, how can we take issue with that in your estimation?
I fundamentally disagree with him. If this war was going to be resolved as quick as Donald Trump said it would have been, it would have been resolved months ago. Instead, Brian Kemp just had to let the gas tax back into place, 33 cents added to the average Georgia driver's gas daily in order to cover the expenses of the state of Georgia, because Donald Trump started this war. The other aspect, when you look at this, this has exposed America's weakness, because you were supposed to go in there and devour this country the way that you said you would in a matter of days. And then with drones and all types of things, they've drug you into a month-long war that has increased the cost of living for the people of America. And you talk about Greenland being a benefit. I'm from Louisiana. Jeff Landry, my governor, is off on these quests in Greenland about trying to make Greenland a part of this country. My state ranks 50 in the nation. We rank number 49 in economic opportunity. We rank number 50 in crime. We have one of the worst education systems in the country and one of the most terrible healthcare systems in the country. And my governor, on the request of the president that you supported, is spending time in Greenland rather than fixing the conditions of the people of Louisiana. And so I think that conservatives do a lot of talking around issues, but when you talk about the real meat and potatoes, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, South Carolina, Arkansas, some of the lowest ranked states in the country, all of their governors are Republican. All of their legislatures are super majority Republicans. So you can't tell me if the worst places to...
You know what kills me about all this shit, looking at it? It gives me a fucking headache. I'm not even gonna lie. It starts to like sink in, right? At some point when they start to talk about Republicans and Democrats, well, the Republicans, the Democrats, bro, this is how racist black people, right? And truthfully, black people can be racist. So I would say prejudice, right? This is how prejudice works. Instead of addressing the fact that we have a real race issue in America, they sweep it to the side and say it's not a black and a white thing. It's not the African slave descendants versus the pilgrim descendants. It is the Republicans trying to fix the country while the Democrats destroy it. I think the Democrats say, well, we're trying to fix the country, and it's the Republicans destroying it. And then no matter what happens, listen to this. No matter what happens, America, the federal government, which is one federal government, just one, whatever happens, the federal government will profit from it. The Democrats and the Republicans. They both going to eat regardless of what happens. The only thing that's different is who's in control. But regardless, if America wins, they all fucking win. Remember that. It's a fucking game, bro. It's a game. This is a manipulation. They're manipulating everybody.
In America are led by supermajority Republicans. How in the hell are those people the answer to the problems of the American people?
Officer Tatum, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, this is too easy. He could walk and chew gum at the same time. Greenland is strategic when it comes to our geopolitical strength. You can't just be isolated into one area and act as if we're going to have some type of economic success across the world. We don't just live on an island by ourselves.
The irony of him being fucking sarcastic, right? Talking about he can walk and chew gum. I get that analogy. I get the metaphor. But the point is this. When you walk and chew gum, it's a simple situation that you've done probably millions of times, right? You ever walking and chew gum and accidentally choke on that motherfucker? How about have you ever had a drink, right? You're drinking something and it goes down the wrong pipe, as they say, right? So there's things that you have done over and over again, right? And there's certain times where you have made mistakes and it didn't go the way it has went the million times that you have done it. Walking and chewing gum is such a vague analogy about fighting war, running countries, taking over territory, stealing oil, manipulating countries, stealing from the American people, assaulting women, sexually assaulting women, children, being involved in all type of other altercations and allegations, being sued, being a felon. I mean, the list goes on. I want to see Tatum debate that one European boy that be on TikTok. I think his name is Dylan. I want to see him debate Dylan. Dylan to chew his ass up. All right, man. Back to the thing. Back to the story.
And it's just the United States of America doing business with the United States of America. But when it comes to some of these arguments about states that are run by Republicans, when you look at people who are struggling, it's these inner city communities. Majority of them are run by Democrats. Majority of them are majority black, and I don't see none of these people in these inner city communities arguing and doing anything to help their own communities. They're still complaining about Louisiana. I know a whole bunch of people that go to private school in Louisiana, or people that go to really prominent schools in Louisiana, and they're doing just fine. So if you want to argue about these inner city communities that are run majority by leftist policies and Democrats. And I'll tell you this.
Just for the record, I am not a Democrat. I don't like the Democrats. I think the Democrats did a terrible job. They do a terrible job. A lot of my family are Democrats. I was raised in a Democratic house, but I'm not a Democrat. And I'm not a Republican either. I'm more of an independent, but I don't like the independent party too because they don't have nobody to really run. So I really don't have a party. I participate in United States government. I just don't have a party. Like I don't believe the Democrats. I don't believe the Republicans. Independents don't really have nothing going on. The Whig Party isn't around anymore. So hey, fuck it. I'm just American. Okay, back to the story.
I hope that Mr. Chambers mentioned some of these things when Joe Biden was the president. I hope that he did. When Joe Biden did absolutely nothing when he was in office, when Joe Biden pretty much run our country down the drain, his military success was dismal. His withdrawal from Afghanistan was terrible. We were not respected around the world whatsoever. I hope that Mr. Chambers has something to say about that. And there's a reason why Mr. Donald Trump.
Real quick, he got a point. I'm definitely have a lot of unpositive things to say about Brandon Tatum. So I will come out and say, because I don't want it to seem like I'm just a hater, right? Or I just have some vendetta against this guy because I don't know him personally. So he has a point. Biden did a terrible job. Not only did he run out of Afghanistan, but he left tanks, helicopters, guns. Like, it was terrible. It was terrible. Sleepy Joe Biden did not do a good job. It was very bad, and this is why I believe that Kamala didn't have a chance to win. I believe she would have won if they would have done better, but they did such a terrible job, especially with the transgenders in the bathrooms and the boys playing girl sports. It just did not work out for them good. It just didn't play out well. So I have to agree with him. That was a bad look for the Biden presidency. It was a bad look. Okay, carry on. Carry on. One for Tatum, one for Tatum.
Elected president again. It's not through osmosis and because people are stupid. It's because the Democrats have done nothing and they have lied and they have been misleading the public. Donald Trump had another chance to come back because he has done so many incredible things for this country and for the black community. Mr. Chambers cannot mention one thing that the Democrats have done for the black community, and I'll mention a few that Donald Trump has, and I'll wait for him to start.
All right.
So
Well, I could follow up, Gary, but I know you were charming. You were aching to chime in with what he had to say. So go ahead. I give you an opportunity to respond directly to what Officer Tatum just said, pointed out.
number one, Stephen, I chuckled a bit because you talk about the economic prosperity or the economic relationship between countries. My governor, who has the 50th ranked economy in the country, you send that guy to go do the economic envoy. So first of all, if Trump's about making deals, you sent the worst negotiator possible to go represent the people of America. That's number one. Number two, you talk about the inner cities. My daughter goes to public schools in East Baton Rouge Parish, and it's a great school that she goes to. Number two, when you talk about that, you say this inner city. We've had a black mayor. We've never had a majority Democrat council in East Baton Rouge Parish. In the history of this parish, conservatives have always ran the government that approves the council, which approves the spending of every mayor that's ever existed. So when you talk about this majority black city, because of gerrymandering, because of racialized voting, because of the things that have harmed black people who make up 56% of the city, but we don't have a majority on the council. Let's prove another point. The East Baton Rouge Parish school system, which is 80% black, because Baton Rouge had the longest desegregation case in America. We have an 80% black school system, but a majority white Republican school board in a majority black city because we have a legislature that continues to deny black people fair representation. So when you talk about these things, you chuckle because you don't have anything to go against these facts.
Come on with it, brother.
These facts that I'm bringing up about local government, because the reason conservatives like to talk about geopolitical things is because that's disconnected from Americans' everyday lives. The things that Donald Trump is doing is making your gas cost more money, but you're listening to this guy. It's making your groceries cost more money, but they're sending my governor to Greenland. They're making your insurance bills cost more money. Your hospitals are closing, and this guy thinks that these things are good for you.
Here you go. Let's talk about this. I could have sworn you just said your daughter goes to a school in this parish that you're
public
mentioning.
schools.
Public school.
You brought up private schools.
You said no. I said let me finish.
No.
Ain't nobody. Hold on, guys.
So this is where shit gets sticky, right? Because he did say private schools. Let's run it back. He said private schools. He's not talking about private education because a private education is not being taken care of, paid for by the state. It's not taxpayer money, right? But at the same time, he's trying to explain to him, like, we got to go the extra mile. You know what I'm saying? We got to go the extra mile in order for our kids to be able to go to a public school because everybody can't afford private education. And if you have to go and put your child in a private school, in a public school, they should be able to get a decent education like someone that's at a private school. Granted, private schools have perks because it's paid for. So there might be a little bit better of a budget. Okay, depending on your parents and their financial situation, you might be able to have a little bit more. And that's not, there should be nothing wrong with that. We live in a capitalist society. That's how it works. However, the government should be able to provide a sustainable education for everyone. And it should be high quality. It should not be the less of the less because the government is subsidizing it. I digress.
Ain't nobody getting cut off here. This ain't television where you getting cut off in 8 minutes because you got an 8 minute segment. I ain't cutting anything. So you can listen to each other. Go ahead, Officer Tatum. Go ahead.
Yeah,
What were
yeah.
you
What
saying? And then I'll
what I
respond.
was saying was I was articulating how people are doing well in these private schools. You articulated that your daughter is doing well in these public school that's all black and controlled by Democrat. I mean by Republican, white Republicans. So make your mind up. Is the white Republicans doing negative things in the inner city that's causing your daughter to go to a school that's bad, or your daughter go to a very successful school in the parish that you're talking about, run by white Republicans? Now let's get to some other things when we talk about the geopolitical perspective. You're saying that Donald Trump sent Landry to Greenland, like he sent them there to live, like he sent them there to be the governor of Greenland. It's Donald Trump.
It's called being counterproductive when you try to like use all of that sarcastic shit. Oh, like he sends them to live. Oh, you doing that shit like you tough. Like, oh, that's not necessary, right, gang? Is it necessary? It's not necessary. You know what he said. You know what they trying to get to. Let's stop trying to allude to everything else, and let's just stick to the physics. Let's just stick to the physics, and that's all we need to do at this point. All that other all that other shit he doing, you see, he be trying to allude to the situation. He's slippery. Dude is slippery, man. You gotta watch Tatum, man. He's a slippery cat. And he think he's smarter than the average bear because he's around those folks. So he think, because he gets a pat on. Dude is a Larry Elder, bro. I seen this dude before. He's not nothing new. I'm telling you. It's the same shit. Different toilet. Let's get back to it, man.
Those who has the ability to negotiate, people who have the ability to make differences and changes. Landry won because he was incredibly successful as a politician there, and then he won the governorship. And I believe he's one of the best governors you guys have had. Now, if you want to blame every single aspect of what's happened in Louisiana on one governor, then that's
Well,
problematic.
Officer Taylor, let me interject by saying this. First of all, every hire that Donald Trump makes, every suggestion that he makes doesn't necessarily work. He's had a lot of turnover in his administrations, both one and two, number one. But I will say this to you because it gets me to a bigger point. When we talk about geopolitics and you look at Donald Trump, whether it's in Israel, whether it's in Iran, whether it's in Venezuela, rumors about Cuba, et cetera, you even have folks on the MAGA right side that are saying, he's going against his campaign promise about putting America first. They have said that about him. How do you answer that, Officer Tatum?
I think I disagree. There's a difference between saying we don't want endless wars that don't make sense and that we can't have a war at all. When you have Iran getting a nuclear weapon, that's existential threat to the United States of America and all of our allies in the region. And the United States of America isn't the only country that's participating in stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, some of these other Muslim nations that don't want terrorists in their region are in lockstep with the United States of America and Israel to fight in those efforts. So I understand why Donald Trump has engaged in this. Donald Trump has never gotten us into an endless war like we were in Afghanistan and Iraq. I do believe that Donald Trump is going to get us out of this war. We're not going to stay in it, in perpetuity. He's going to get his mission accomplished, and we're going to get out of there. That's my faith towards what Donald Trump has done historically and what I believe he's going to do currently. We haven't been there for a year, and Donald Trump has, and our military have.
Let me tell you something right now. First lie he just told was Donald Trump said that we wasn't going to be in no war. That's what he said. That's what he campaigned on. No war. So when he talking about historically what he's did was lie about us not being in war and then took us into a war that he said wasn't going to take that long for us to fight and win, and that we're still there fighting. And then I guess now Brandon Tatum's, his back claim is now, well, it hasn't been a year yet. It hasn't even been a year. So that's where we come to. We gotta wait. We gotta wait until it's a year. Well, that whole time that it's the year is going on, we're losing money, sir. I mean, how long are we supposed to fucking wait? I'm just asking for a friend. Don't shoot the messenger.
All of their military assets. They really have no leverage. That's why you don't see conflict back and forth. We're in that region, controlling the region. And that's the difference between us getting in the war and it's out of control and we don't know, what's coming next. They don't have any retaliatory availability against our United States military. They do not. I don't even think they have a navy. So when we're looking at these things, it's a difference between having Trump derangement syndrome and saying
If they controlled the region, then they would open the Strait of Hormuz. Just saying.
he does is bad, and saying, let me get a man a chance to prove himself. Now, if he's in war, we in war in that country for a year, 2 years, then me and you can have this conversation again. But until Donald Trump get an opportunity to finish what they started, then I'm going to support what he's doing.
Gary, let me transition to you by asking this question. When you listen to what Officer Tatum has to say, to cliff note it from a generic perspective, he's talking about placing faith in a president that is Donald Trump, who he considers to be far better than anything the liberals have offered in recent memory. Because ultimately, it harkens back. Every time I run across independents or conservatives, they're looking at what the Democratic Party hasn't done for the black community, and they're asking the question, why should the community's faith be placed in that party? Why not try something new, even if it is Donald Trump? To that, you explain what?
Number one, I would say that I want to address that he brought up uh, that Iran can't handle us. The retaliation from Iran is economic retaliation. They are forcing the American people to have an economic pressure right now that may cost Donald Trump the midterm elections. That's
You talk about
number
the
one.
Strait of Hormuz? You talking about the Strait
Yes,
of
closing the
Hormuz?
strait and costing the American people money every single day that that strait is closed. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, when you talk about Democrats versus conservatives, right now in this country, a conservative majority Supreme Court is stripping away power from black people to serve in Congress. Now,
Tatum going to say no, but that's a fact. They just did it. That's why one of those other senators, I forgot his name, but he has a big afro like the Boondocks, and his brother was escorted out. The brother wound up going to jail, and he was upset, saying that they're taking congressional seats away. They're shorting these maps. There's a lot more into it. I do understand how it's working, but I don't understand to the point to where I can explain it in thoroughness, and I don't want to say anything wrong. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get attacked. You know how that be on this good old internet. So yeah, they're definitely gerrymandering. They're definitely taking away positions. And if you just look at this dude Tatum's face, like look at this dude's face, right? You can tell he just loves it. He loves it. He's just like, I don't care what you guys say. You guys are never gonna overcome or uprise, and if you do, it's gonna be a pack of us that's gonna make sure Massa always wins, guarantee. And I'm not saying that all European people are bad, because I definitely teach my children that there's no such thing as white people. There's no such thing. He's either you're European, you're Russian, you're Scandinavian, you're Ukrainian, you're you're from somewhere. There's from somewhere. There's a place, there's a culture. So there's no such thing as white people. Just like there's no such thing as black people. So I try to teach my kids to be more thorough with what they say and have more of an understanding about human beings and not just play this race culture game because it's ignorant. But um, the guy, Gary, he has a point. Yeah. Let's get back to it.
shake his head at that, but why does that matter? Because as somebody black in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where Louisiana elected the first black person to Congress in the history of this country, Willis Menard in the 1800s, Willis Menard was denied the ability to serve in Congress because a person who was from Congress who later became president said that it was not time for a black man to serve in Congress. You follow that up and you go 100 years later before William Jefferson is elected to Congress in the late 1980s. William Jefferson, Cleo Fields, Cedric Richmond, Troy Carter, 4 people in the history of this country that are black have served in Congress from the state of Louisiana. In that same time, 170 plus white men have gone to Congress from Louisiana in the same period of time. But you're sitting here telling me that this is a fair system to black people. And the people who are orchestrating taking away that power from black people is Donald Trump and his Supreme Court. And as a black person who lives in one of the impacted communities, this is the first time in my lifetime since I was 6 that a black person represented me in Congress from all of Baton Rouge. What does that mean? It means that Southern University, the only HBCU system in America, is finally getting financial appropriations from the federal government to improve the campus of Southern University so that young black children can be educated up on that campus. When Garrett Graves was there, he wasn't sending any money to Southern University, but Cleo Fields surely is. And that matters to black people who are from Baton Rouge, who live in North Baton Rouge, where that is an anchor within our community economically.
So he's in an affected community, but his daughter goes to a prominent school that's doing very, very well. She's doing great, and it's run by white people. Now let's go to the point where you
that's not a true statement.
let's go to the point where you're making this point about.
Hold on, officer. Gary, what's not true about what he just said?
How are you finding the time to send over all these meeting notes?
I got a secret. I've been using.
That's so weird, bro. So you keep on trying to make about his daughter going to a school in a district that's terrible, right? As the speaking point, like that makes no sense. That makes no sense. Maybe his daughter is just a hard worker and she's just intelligent. Like, you ever thought about that? Like, that could be it. No? I just don't understand. All right, let's get back to it. We about to be done, y'all. We about to be done.
Is ran by a black man. That is Lamont Cole. And the school that my daughter attends is a magnet school in the public school system because my family decided to put my daughter in early childhood education, and we had the resources.
Like I just fucking said, because his daughter is smart and she goes the extra mile and she works 3 times, 4 times harder than his kids, Brandon Tatum kids have to, because they're half white. So, you know, they get the royal white treatment with the, you're black, you're mixed. So you're not fully accepted. You get what I'm saying? Don't get it twisted. But like I said, because his daughter is smart, because we do have young African-American children, young melanated children that work their ass off to get to fucking college without a scholarship, to get to play fucking sports and move out the ghetto and buy their parents a house. It happens. It's not like something that just can't ever, like, we've never done it. It happens often, but not often enough. And the problem is not enough children have those opportunities. That's the problem. So you have people like this that's trying to fight for their communities to get things together so that people, kids under him, can have something too when they grow up. But then you have the Brandon Tatums that know I can go work for the enemy. If I go out here and I say all the things that they want me to say, I mean, I can live a good life. It doesn't make me a racist, especially if I believe in it.
to provide for her. My daughter goes to one of the best schools in East Baton Rouge Parish school system. Now, I'm not talking about the majority of the school system. And the original point that I made was about Louisiana's public schools ranking number 47 in the country.
All right. Let's okay. Let me
so
get
go
this.
ahead,
But
go ahead,
this,
officer. Now go ahead.
you just proved my point, my man. A black man run this school and is very successful, and a black family has an opportunity to put their black daughter in a very prominent and successful school in Louisiana. So the white man don't have no power over what you can accomplish if you guys put.
Hey, this nigga's he's a clown, bro. He's a fucking clown. No matter what you say, he's not gonna debate it. He's gonna backtrack it. He's gonna he just took this man's idea and basically tried to make it his own. He tried to take the first point that he made about the little girl going to a good school and said, "Oh, well, it's ran by white people. So how you gonna say white people are bad and they're stopping you?" Then he turns around and clarifies it. And then he turns around and say, "Oh, well, that's even a better point that black people are running it, and I mean white people can't hold you back." You can't argue with dumb people, bro. You just can't. You people like Brandon Tatum, you just gotta let him have his fucking opinion. If everybody just stop paying this nigga attention and him covering shit about us and our community, stop paying him, he'll stop doing it. That's just that. Only reason why he's continuing to do it is because he's getting so much backlash because people's like, oh my God, we can't stand this motherfucker. So now he's getting more notoriety. More people are speaking him up. He's becoming more famous for being a fucking a race traitor. He basically does not like black people. He don't like being black. As you see, he can't debate. He doesn't know shit about shit. I'm not saying he's a dumb person, but he's just not very witty when it comes to debate. People didn't like Charlie. They didn't like Charlie Kirk. They can not like him all they wanted to. But what they can say is that he was a bad debater. He was a master debater. Okay? A master debater. Point is, he won't answer a question. He's backpedaling every question. He's using everything that Gary says as a speaking point to try to prove a point that he didn't make. I'm over it. I just wanted to see what this was going to look like. I didn't watch all the video first. You know, I'm only doing little 30-minute clipper snippers. We're not going to be in here for no hour because it's not like an hour, 9 minutes. So if you do want to watch it, the full video, it is on Stephen A's YouTube page right here. And you definitely can check it out. I'm going to let him finish, and we will be concluding.
Stuff together, get your stuff together and do the right thing. Now let's get to this whole thing about race.
That's crazy.
You're saying black people represent me. It ain't about race. It's about whether a person can represent the constituency or not. Are they effective or are they not? Because it doesn't matter about the color of somebody's skin, because we had a black president that did nothing for black people. He did nothing. Donald Trump did more for black people than Barack Obama could ever dream of. When you talk about loan guarantee, or not loan guarantees, when you talk about money that has been guaranteed given to HBCUs, Donald Trump secured that, and Obama could never secure that. When you talk about opportunity zones, when you talk about the First Step Act, that's legislation that was passed under President Donald Trump that Barack Obama would never in his life dream of doing. You cannot name one thing that Barack Obama has done. You cannot name one thing that a black politician who's a Democrat has done to help the black people in your community or communities across the United States of America. You can't name one. And then let me say this. You keep saying that somehow the white man is making sure black people are not serving in Congress. There's a ton of black Democrats that are serving in Congress. There's a ton of them. I mean,
they're attempting to take their seats.
You said, excuse me?
And they're attempting to take their seats.
Attempting to take their seats through what?
The Supreme Court gerrymandering their seats away.
That's where I was going next with the whole redistricting, and gerrymandering issue. That's exactly where I was going next. Go ahead, Officer Tatum.
This is where the gentleman, Mr. Chambers, you're wrong. In many of these cases, the reason that the redistricting did not work out, especially in Louisiana and other places, because they were doing it based on race, and that is not constitutional. And so if you're going to say you need to redistrict because black people...
We're going to run that back one more time. Because I think he just told on himself, right? Right? Ain't that a telltale right there?
especially in Louisiana and other places, because they were doing it based on race, and that is not constitutional.
I'm gonna play it one more time. Hold on. Let me play it one more time.
Other places, because they were doing it based on race, and that is not constitutional. And so if you're going to say you need to redistrict,
Because they was doing it based on race, and that is not constitutional. Wait, let's go back in it, because I don't want y'all to say, "Oh, it's a soundbite."
And gerrymandering issue. That's exactly where I was going next.
this
Go
is
ahead,
where
Officer Tatum.
this is where the gentleman, Mr. Chambers, you're wrong. In many of these cases, the reason that the redistricting did not work out is
The reason why the redistricting, the gerrymandering that they were trying to do, didn't work out. My comprehension is pretty good, so I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. It didn't work out because I'm gonna let Tatum, Officer Tatum, say it.
in Louisiana and other places, because they were doing it based on race, and that is not constitutional. And
So when we talk about racism in America and how they do shit based on race, and they are racist, and they try to say no, people aren't, and that's not how it works. He just said that's what they were trying to do, and it didn't work out because that's how they was basing it, and that's only because people were speaking up, people were saying things about it, people were speaking out. That's why it didn't work. You hear me play it 3 times. I didn't say it. I didn't doctor the video. You can find this video. You can watch it yourself. But he just basically said that they do shit based on race. And it's against the constitutional law, but they still do it. And if they don't get caught, then that's what it is. I digress.
you're going to say you need to redistrict because black people need a benefit or black people should be represented. White people can't do that either. So that is the reason why some of the redistricting and lines being drawn was denied by the Supreme Court, is because they did it based on race. This is what black people have been fighting for so many years,
Tatum,
is that you cannot make those decisions based on race. And when they try to make them based on race, they were denied in the Supreme Court.
Officer Tatum, I respect where you're coming from. I guess my pushback, and I'll let Gary chime in a second. I just want to add my 2 cents here. I guess where I chime in, I feel compelled to chime in. When we think about civil rights, when we think about the Voting Rights Act, when we think about things of that nature, I'm looking at it from the standpoint that once upon a time, okay, even though some people, a lot of us will look at it, racism still exists. It might not be as obvious in a lot of people's eyes, but there's no question that racism still exists. Make no mistake about it. And we ain't going to get around that. But the point is, it was so glaring, it was so flagrant, whether it was Jim Crow laws or anything else, okay, in the 60s and beyond, or even before that. The reality of the situation is the laws that came into play were necessary. And so why were they necessary? Because we had a community within our country that were taking advantage. They had the power. They obviously were exploiting it at every turn. And it took federal legislation to be implemented in order for us to negate the kind of momentum they were continuing to build and build and build for decades, if not longer. So my point is that when we sit up there and we say, well, you know what, redistricting and gerrymandering and these issues had to be addressed because people were making decisions based on race. I'm like, but that's because decisions beforehand were made by race, were made on the basis of race, but it was just by the side in power. How can we ignore that reality that it was compelled? How can we ignore that?
Which were the Democrats.
Thank you. Now here we go. I told you they use the Democrat and Republican shit to confuse you. It don't matter, because what happens is they can switch parties. Motherfuckers switch parties. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Okay, the Democrats left their party because one of their people, forgot his name, the guy that was running against Abraham Lincoln, decided to let the people decide and vote if they want to have slaves or not. And they got upset and they said, you know what? We're leaving this party. We're leaving. How dare you? How dare you give them the right to vote? They belong to us, and nobody should be voting for our property. That's how that worked. So Tatum, he's full of shit, dude. He's full of shit. Now he want to go and say, well, it was the Democrats. Like I said, you can switch parties. They switch parties all the time. So it don't matter. The Democrats were the ones that started the KKK back when they first started. You know, Democrats, Republicans, Whigs. The Democrats were the party of the KKK. Yes. The Republicans was the party of black people. Black Wall Street. Yes, they were all Republicans. Yes. But those parties have switched. People have left party. People have came to the party. These parties are not the same people with the same ideologies. But I do agree that the Democrats are a terrible party to be a part of. I definitely do not agree with majority of what the Democrats do. I do not agree. Just want to put that out there. All right, squad, we in a minute. Hold on.
So Mr. Chambers claimed that I'm assuming he claimed he's a Democrat. I'm assuming that he voted for Democrats. He's saying that Democrats will do a better job than Republicans, even in his state. But the people who were implementing these things that were against black people, Jim Crow and all of the above, were all Democrats. You know, slavery was initiated by Democrats. Republicans are the ones that abolished slavery. Republicans are ones that majority voted for and passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment unanimously. True. It was not the Democrats. Democrats in the Jim Crow South, the Dixiecrats were the ones that were prejudiced and racist against black people. And so I would like to.
True. And true. So everything Tatum just said was true. That was all facts. Yeah. The Republicans were the ones that helped get rid of slavery. I mean, there was some shit between. It was some trickery in there. Don't get it wrong. But they were the ones that abolished slavery or helped abolish slavery. And the Democrats were the ones that were heavy on keeping slaves. And that great Ku Klux Klan march that you see on, in front of the White House with all the KKK, and they was marching and they all nice and sharp with their hoodies and, fresh whites and all that. Those are Democrats. Facts. Just being honest. Let's just be honest, though. We got to be honest here. So that he got a point. All right, 2 for Tatum, 6 for the other guy.
Chambers to acknowledge at least that the history of racism and prejudice and putting black people aside were perpetuated by Democrats. And they're lying today, acting as if Republicans are doing these things. When you look at the majority of black cities are run by Democrats, and they've run it into the ground. The murder capital of this country is a Democrat-run city that's full of black people. Why is that the case?
Gary, go ahead.
Okay. He said a whole lot of things. Number one, white supremacy is what I'm against. I'm not sitting here arguing with you about Democrat or Republican. White supremacists were orchestrating these things against black people. Now, do white supremacists switch political parties? Yes. In America, they were Democrats in the beginning, they're Republicans today. And the proof of that is Steve Bannon.
I swear to God, I have not seen this part yet, but that's exactly what the fuck I was just saying. This nigga Tatum is not that smart, bro. He's not that fucking smart. Like, he be saying the dumbest shit, bro. Like, that don't even make sense. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Tatum?
The likes of those folks are in the Republican Party. Stephen Miller is in the Republican Party. The Project 2025 comes out of the Republican Party. I let you finish, now let me cook. When you go furthermore, when you talk about the lack of things that have happened for black people, I just told you a Republican represented me in Congress for a decade, Garrett Graves. Not a damn thing happened for North Baton Rouge economically while Garrett Graves, a white Republican, was in Congress. I'm not talking about in 1965. I'm talking about in the time that I have been a voter, voting for the people that were able to be elected within my congressional district. Until Cleo Fields was there, where they gave black representation, there was not a $9 million investment happening within 5 minutes away from my home. 5 minutes away from my home, there's a $9 million investment where young black people are going to be able to go in the community and enjoy themselves because of Congressman Cleo Fields. That kind of stuff wasn't happening in my neighborhood when Garrett Graves was in Congress, the white Republican. Furthermore, when you dig deeper into the conversation about the impact for black people from Democrats, if you look at how these things work to be effective, I understand government very well. Local government relies on state government and federal government to help them meet the needs of the people because the resources are limited. If the local government is being boxed out by the state government, which happens all the time here in Louisiana, if you have a Republican governor, they're going to help Republican elected officials.
All right. So go check this video out, man. Go check the video out. The shit is juicy. I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting me a bar of this. I'm not done yet. You know what I'm saying? I just seen it earlier. I was like, oh, I'm about to react to this because it just dropped. I be trying to hurry up and get my feet in before everybody else do. So I'm about to go hit the edit room. You know what I mean? Edit, chop, flip, flop, and post. You know what I'm saying? Because we gotta hurry up and get this out. But Tatum lost. He's losing. And that's my opinion. He had good points. I that's why I stopped it. I'm not biased. I'm not here to bash him. I have no ill wills toward this man. I just feel that there's a lot of people that don't want to see our culture make it out of exile. They don't want to see us make it out of bondage. They don't want us to have autonomy. They don't want us to be free. And their reasoning for this is because they feel like if we're free, we can't handle it. If we're free and there's nobody here to watch us and keep us in line and keep authority or keep the peace, then it's going to be anarchy. And I just find that to be so backwards thinking because my people are not violent. Every culture has violent people. Every culture go through things. If you show me a violent black person, I can show you the same white person. We're all human beings. Human beings is one race, the human race. That's it. Culturally, we do share different things, but that's just because of regional differences. Because you grew up here, you grew up there, this part of the world, that part of the world, but we're all human beings. It makes no difference. Literally. If you took a blood sample, it'll just tell you if the person was this, that, and other, but it doesn't tell you black, white, or purple. So I just want everybody to know, man, we got to do better as people. Go check this shit out. Everything I was saying, he was hitting the points. Like I said, I watched a couple of minutes of it before, but majority of it I didn't see. So a lot of that, when I was like, yeah, I was only getting excited because he was hitting the same points that I was basically saying. Like, but Tatum is a joke. He's a joke. And I hope you all see what's going on here. All right. I appreciate y'all. Squad, we in the building. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate everybody. Squad, we in the building, baby. Let's get it. And my end button doesn't work, so I just looked really dumb. But all right, my bad. We out.